means it's an Indian word, Hindi word or Sanskrit with Sanskrit roots. It means to innovate or to create. So I did not choose this word out of accident. It had a very special meaning to me personally. In fact, Avishkar's story is intertwined with my own story. I was a young 7-year-old. The first time I saw any of the electronics was when my father signed me up for a club program just like this called Electronics Gadget. Call me a freak of nature or whatever, but if anyone has ever experienced the smell of soldering, when you solder, there's a certain smell that comes out of it. But for majority of people, it's nauseating, puke, causes vomiting. But for me, it is like the scent of world. It suddenly, it opens up the opportunity. It makes me think, okay, the camera that this gentleman is operating is made by a person like me because there's a PCB circuit on which the solder went. So for me, it was a very liberating moment. At 7-year-old, I never understood what it meant at that point of time. But now when I, join the pieces back, it is clear to me. But unfortunately, I grew up in a time and an era in India when innovation was not the important thing, most important thing to do. What was most important was how many marks you got in your academics. Academics ruled the roost. So I had to follow the path, although my family was very kind and very liberating, that they did allow me to pursue what I wanted to pursue, but I went through a very standard Indian education of becoming an engineer. I was a computer science engineer from University of Delhi. Then I, again pursued, worked with one of the big IT companies out of India, then got a chance to study abroad, Masters of Sciences from University of Washington in Seattle. And then I got a chance to work from Microsoft for 4 years. But that small stint of 2 years of US really, and then 4 years working in a company made me think so for us, growing up in India, the land of opportunity was always America. That's where we thought that all the geniuses of the world study, live, and so on and so forth. But I was taken to a surprise, and nothing against America, and not trying to demean a fantastic country. But the people over there were no different. I mean, they were equally smart. Sometimes I was smarter than some of them, I would, but definitely more hardworking. I was more hardworking for sure than them. So I asked this question to myself. What is the reason that this country is leading the whole world? And despite the fact that we have such tremendous human resources in Asia or Africa for that matter, why are we not able to be the same place? Why are we 50 or 60 or 100 years behind them? And fundamentally, the only answer I came out with was that we might think that our success is a function of our hard work or a function of our talent. But honestly thinking, I think our success is a function of exposure that we get. If we get the right exposure at right point of time, I am telling you there is no force on earth who can stop us from achieving the fantastic, amazing, incredible things that we are all destined to achieve. Bill Gates started programming in 80s when he was 12 years old. I saw my first computer when I was 19 years old. So clearly those 7 years, and in technologies, 7 years actually mean 70 years. So that is the fundamental aspect. And I think, today, when, some of us mentioned about the 5th Industrial Revolution, I would still say, okay, 4th Industrial Revolution. The last Industrial Revolution was that of computer science or electronics, and before that it was, that of trains or steam engine, and then, mass production. During the time of steam engine, India and Africa, for that matter, or Asia and Africa, I would say, none of us had any opportunity, and that's the reason the history we have is history we have. India was under colonial rule for almost 200 years because we missed out on those 2 industrial revolutions completely. Now, with all gravity and seriousness, I would like to, do highlight this fact. The 3rd industrial revolution that happened was computer science, electronics. A big Asian country took advantage of it, and all of us know that country. China. It's in every household in the world. Right? That's how, and now China enjoys the position that it enjoys. India caught the tailwind of that revolution where, we became the software factory of the world. And trust me, guys like me who come from very average middle class backgrounds got a chance to experience the world because of that. Now the 4th Industrial Revolution, as per me, is happening, which is AI, robotics, coding, 3D printing, drones. The choice is, actually I don't think there's a choice left now. Because earlier what used to happen was, you would have rich people and you would have poor people. Rich people would have factories or big ownership and they will employ poor people. Poor people will still get by because they have some employment. Maybe they were, exploited a little bit, but they still had food on the table. But now with robotics, AI happening, I think the chances are that poor people will actually end up becoming irrelevant. That is a real struggle that we are facing. So my request or my plea to all my African brothers and sisters is, let this be the century of Asia and Africa. And from the different places that I have been, everyone is talking about that. Let this be the time when we are not just the consumer of the world's technology. Let this be the time when we end up becoming producers of technology. And that's only going to happen when young people sitting over there get their hands dirty, making something, coding something. It's not mandatory that you have to become a computer scientist. Everyone doesn't need to become a computer scientist. But the reality is, whichever profession you choose, including becoming a banker, you would still require technology to get by. So I don't think it's a choice. It is, and you as captains of industry, the drivers of change in every aspect of society, you have this unique advantage or unique vantage point to actually make the difference. So with my folded hands, I would plead you, please take it seriously. Otherwise, history has a habit of repeating itself. It may not be the same type of colonialism, it would be a different type of colonialism.